Good evening, everybody. How are you doing tonight? Welcome to tonight's tea with your host, Juana. And of course, like many other nights, we have a special guest because all my guests are special. And so, our co host for this evening is going to be my longtime friend. And I call her my coworker now, y'all, because we all in this private practice thing together. So, my coworker, Ms. Evelyn Roberts. She is a licensed clinical social worker. But before I bring her on, the housekeeping stuff, y'all. If you're on my personal page, you can please allow StreamYard to use your or access your name. Y'all know what it is. Access your name or something so you can get on Facebook and I can see who you are. Okay. And I'm just so excited about tonight because I love helping Black people, y'all, helping not just Black people but just people in general get their promoting their businesses and books, whatever it is you're doing. You could be making weave baskets, and if I can help promote you, I want to do it, because that's what this is all about. So without any further ado, I was trying to wait for some of y'all to come on here, but that makes me anxious. I think I need to talk to Evelyn about that. Wow. So I'm going to bring her up, and I see there's one person on. So, y'all, whoever you are, say hey. Say hey. Let us know who you are, okay? But I'm going to bring Evelyn up. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
So, y'all, this is my coworker, Evelyn.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to tell, I'm so like bad at this stuff, but I
No,
am just
that's a
going to
negative thought.
right, that's right. I'm going to release all negative thoughts. So, welcome, whoever you are, wherever you are. If you're joining live with us now, or if you're joining 5 years from now, 15 years from now, wherever you are, whenever that is, welcome to the tea. It's Tuesday night tea with your girl, Juana. So, this night we have Evelyn Roberts. And I'm going to tell y'all a little bit. I'm going to read her bio, y'all. So, Miss Evelyn Roberts is a licensed clinical social worker in Georgia with 8 years of experience as a counselor slash therapist and over 12 years working with individuals and children of all ages and their families in child welfare, substance abuse, child and family counseling, and community mental health. So, y'all, that's a long time. She don't even look that old, right? She don't even look old
I know
enough.
I get that all the time.
Like I always forget how old Evelyn is. I'm like, this little baby, but she ain't no baby. She's seasoned, y'all. She's seasoned. And let's say hey to Miss Michelle before we get started. Oh, some people coming on, girls. Some people's here. So I get so excited when people, because I don't know. I like people, I think, sometimes. So hi, Miss Michelle. Good evening to you. And she says, "Am I on the right page, girl? I don't know. I don't know what page you're on. If you're on the Live Intentionally Today page, you are on the right page. Hello, my beautiful daughter, Maya. Hey, girl. Um, and Maya has been working with IEPs, so I know sometimes when we have children, we have to, some of that stuff with counseling, we have to be involved with that stuff too. But let's get started, Evelyn. So tell me, okay, so the name of your business is a 413 Counseling Services. So should we go way back first, like how you started private practice?
um,
Let's yeah,
you
we
want
can
to talk about how I started with social work and then
yeah,
now in private practice?
yeah. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Ever since I was a young child, I was just playing. But for real though, like I feel like social work has always been in me. And also with that, the counselor portion has always been innately me. Um, I can remember as far as back as the middle school, people coming and talking to me about stuff, and just talking out problems and everything, and sharing stories about. I feel like a lot of people have always just been open to tell me their business a lot. So I've always had that in me. And when I went off to college, I tell everybody, like, a lot of times I deal with individuals coming into counseling because they say they don't know what they want to do in their life. Sometimes they're young men and women. And I tell them, this is not the only time or the first or the last time that you're going to feel like this. And then I also share my story with them on me being in undergrad at Miles College. Go Bears, HBCU up in here. Um, and going through different majors. I started off, saying that, I'm going to do computer science because you can make a whole bunch of money with that. I'm going to do that. And I realized I did not like, well, I didn't realize, I was reminded I don't like math. So I scratched that and said, well, let me just go into communications. And although right now I'm doing an aspect of communication, just in my private practice with being a web designer, marketing person, and all that within communication still didn't fit right with me either. So I landed with social work, and found out that I like it. I like the helping people aspect of it, and that carried through my master's level with me wanting to get my MSW in social work, and then now be working towards my doctorate in social work because I figured if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. So I just really moved into that. But when I got on the master level, I realized that, hey, I can do more than case management in doing social work, because that was like one of the main things that was kind of pushed a lot. In my undergraduate, I was able to get exposed to counseling a little bit, but again, in that bachelor's level, they pushed a lot of case management, and then in master's, that's when it kind of opened up to something bigger than that. So that kind of led me towards my counseling journey, just from coming social work and then seeing the different areas where it kind of grew. And as I got more knowledge and got more degrees, I was able to see more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's, I think we all kind of start out that way. Well, I don't want to say all, but a lot of us that is like, I hear the same kind of stories, like, because even myself is like, why these people tell me their business,
Yeah.
And then I had the same, like, when you said that about the math, girl, that spoke to me because I
Yes.
was like, I can't do nobody's math. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was doing a whole different degree as well. I was in health sciences instead
Okay.
of computer sciences, but I was in health. And so I was like, I had to take that humanities class, and it was psychology, and it just like, and I was like, oh, and I ain't got to do no more math. What? So it's just, that is really interesting because I've always shied away from social work. Like you know, I have a stigma against y'all because,
Oh,
but
I
no,
know.
it's only because like that's what you kind of hear more about is all the case management. And I was like, I don't want to be I don't want to case manage. But as you shared, once you get up into those higher levels, that's when you can, have the rest of it's opened up to you. So that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
And
That's
the field has grown a lot. Like, I have seen people doing, or I've heard of people going on and doing financial social work,
what.
being a finance social work. They have there are even social workers that are being hired for NBA teams, like, in NFL teams, like the professional athletes. People are hiring social workers to work with them as well.
Yeah.
So the field of social work has definitely grown. It's something that is very diverse. There are so many jobs that you can kind of, get into with doing this degree or whatever. It's more than just working at the VA, and I know you know about working at the VA. But a lot of times you'll have people say, oh, just do the VA because that'll be a good job, you can retire there and everything, and
Mhm.
not really allowing people to know about the other jobs that you can kind of get in social work.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't knocking the VA though. They do pay well.
Mhm.
But it's still, and you guys are a much older profession than we are as licensed professional counselors. So, and people always ask, like, what's the difference? But, like you said in the earlier parts in undergrad, like for undergrad, we pretty much have a psychology degree, if that, and
Mhm.
you can do things, but you can't do counseling the way that we do counseling.
Yeah.
And so like for you as an undergrad person, you can there's a lot that you can still do with social work.
Hmm.
Um, so for us, we have to go and get our masters to really do anything with counseling.
Yeah.
But y'all can start working at a bachelor's level. And then plus licensing is different, right?
Yeah. So I know when you can get a bachelor's license, um, but your scope on what you can do is still kind of limited. So it's like tiers to it. I think the bachelor's level, um, no, it's the master's level. The master's level is the equivalent of y'all. Is it NCE?
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, the baby license. So the MSW license is technically a baby license.
Oh, no, no, no. That's not what we at. Then no, so it's not the equivalent.
Okay, so we have the baby license, which is the MSW license. You still can do certain things with that. You still can do counseling and stuff and some and things. But when you get the LCSW, that's when you step into the realm, depending on which state that you live in, the realm of being able to diagnose and to be able to supervise LMSW, master's level social workers and stuff.
Okay. So yeah, then that's the difference because
Mm.
our baby license ain't really no baby license. It's just you have to still get supervision and you're like associate license and you have to work under somebody and it only lasts for a certain amount of time. Like you have to end up with this or you don't, so like either you're gonna be licensed or you're not,
Yeah.
so it's kind
Yeah.
of
So
it's a little bit
that
different.
is similar. That is similar. The only things I don't think we have a time. We don't have a time frame on it. But with the LMSW, you also have to get supervision because that's how you get to the LCSW is getting supervision and taking another test. I ain't gonna
Yes.
get on the test,
That's what
but
I'm saying. We just have to take one. Like we just have to take
take
one
two.
one test and then you're a licensed counselor because it take forever.
Yeah,
Like
you
it
got to
takes
take
forever.
two over here in social work. So,
Okay.
but
But
yeah,
see, that's what I'm saying. You still have a license as
yeah,
a master social worker. We don't have like you
mm,
don't really have I mean, it is a license, but it's not like you it's
yeah,
not. It's like being a resident doctor, basically.
yeah. Okay.
But
Mhm.
yeah, so it's so interesting how this is like, you know, people get confused because they don't know. Like you see, like, if I put my letters up there, then I have like LPC, comma NCC, and then you have LCSW, and it's like, what does all that mean? you
Yeah.
know, so it's just like you see people with all these different letters and stuff, and it can be kind of um I don't know, scary to people, I guess, or
Yeah.
they don't
Mhm.
really know what it means. They just like, hey, I need help.
Mhm.
So then how because I know we worked at some of the same places, which is kind of
Yeah.
funny too. But I know so you had a lot of different experiences as well as being a social worker. So how did you end up doing private practice?
So, like I said, I have 8 years of doing counseling. So my counseling started with, well, I went from doing was it child welfare. So I've worked in Alabama, in Birmingham, and also I've worked in this county, in Muskogee County, as uh in the child welfare system. Alabama was more foster care, and then also, and then in Georgia, in Columbus, was CPS, or Child Protective Services, or whatever. Um, and even in both of those jobs, I did some form of counseling, but it was still more case management than that. I left Georgia. I left Muskogee County DFACS um, to work in counseling with an agency in town. Um, yeah, to work with an agency in town. I know when I did my master's was at Family Center. That's the place that we work both together, or whatever. Which I got that experience with doing with doing counseling. But after finishing school, I went back to child welfare. So with years of doing, that child welfare and trying to get into counseling, I left one agency and went to New Horizons, where I was able to do substance abuse counseling. And I did that for a couple months till I moved over to some of their grant programs. One of the grant programs that I worked with was Project Launch, where I got to do some mental health with working with the school system and helping them. Um, and then moving that to their first episode psychosis program, Emerge, and building up that program too. And so in doing that, and then also doing some other jobs within New Horizon, I just one day decided that I feel like I am a jack of all trades and a master of none, or whatever. And I also looked at a one of those Uverse things, and it says that you're supposed to be a jack of all trades and a master of one, meaning that it's okay to be good at a lot of things,
Mhm.
but at the same time find that one thing that you can be really great at, and then also use all those other good things to help build up that one. But that's another story. That's a sermon for another day. um, but in feeling like that though, I, just I kind of felt burnt out, to be honest, with having so many hats. And I just decided, I was
Mhm.
like, I really want to do something different, but I don't know what that is. And I was sitting in church one day, listening to the pastor, and then also just kind of praying and listening for God to kind of speak to me. And at the same time, I was looking at, like, what else can I do with the podcast that I was doing with one of my colleagues, Lakita. Um, and I heard God say to me that I need you to do this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then, so as I was sitting there in church, I started like thinking the Bible verse, Philippians 4:13 popped in my head. And it was like, I can do all things through Christ. And remember, I'm telling you, I'm feeling like I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. And God is like,
Mhm.
but you can do all those things. And he gave me 413 counseling service. Right then and there, I sketched out my logo and everything, and then sat down with Canva and made it come to life. And then, even with like feeling so led to do that, and also scared to tell my supervisor that I'm handing my letter of resignation. I did it though. I stepped out on faith, and I decided to open a private practice where I could do counseling. Um, and I mean, that's really how it started.
That is awesome. So actually the name is a scripture. So
Yes.
413
Hmm.
is Philippians 413.
Hmm.
And I want to just shout out to my friend, because I know you did Lakita, but
Hmm.
I have Marquita on. So I have a Marquita.
Hmm.
And we're in a business coaching group together. And that's one of the things that it was like, God just keep talking to you. And we both had did the same thing. It was like we were working, and then we also just it's like, okay, I laid this out for you, go.
Hmm.
And unbeknownst to me, I put on my personal page, I said, when God says go, you move, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't know that that was really your journey of that, God gave that to you. I mean, I kind of suspected, but I wasn't,
Hmm.
I've never asked you.
Hmm.
And it's like that, for I think for a lot of us,
Yeah.
we're just like, God said go. And
Hmm.
it's like, how am I make this happen? I don't know what to do.
Oh, yes, because you got to think about it. Like, so many things were happening in my life at that time. Like, not only did I buy a new car, I bought a new house, like, and I started a new business. like all of those things were just happening back to back. Like I literally bought my house in June. I bought my house in June. Then I turned around and bought a car in January. And running like a business all at the same time, like so many things just happening all at the same time.
Yeah.
And like I said, having God speak to me and saying, do this, talk to this person, reach out to this person. Like so many things just happening all at once and really just stepping out on faith. I still step out on faith every day with this business because like it's different. Like although I do have a lot more flexibility. I'm able to be there for my kids a lot more. If they have something going on, I don't have to ask anybody, can I have off or whatever. If I want to take a vacation, I don't have to. One time I had to realize that I could listen to a CEU course and go do my Christmas shopping at the same time. That was me in December last year. I was like, who gonna check me? I can do this. I can be out and about and still be productive doing things that I have to do or doing things that I want to do. And, still be productive within my business. Like even with scheduling self-care time. Like every other Friday is my trip to Chicken Salad Chick and Gigi's Cupcakes because they right there by each other. I go in one, do my order, go over there, pick up my cupcakes, come back, grab my chicken salad chick, and I chill out. Or I do some admin, or I just
Mhm.
relax and get my brain together for the next week.
Yeah. No, I love that. Like, actually, I did that today. Like, it's so, like, I mean, it's just so much pressure is just taken off of you when you can do that kind of stuff. And like you said, that self care part, I don't work any Fridays. I mean, I
Mhm.
do like paperwork stuff, but that's it. Like, like I do my some of my admin stuff or marketing or something, something that I'm not spending all my time talking to people.
Yeah.
So that's, today I was able to go drop off some coats to my pastor. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that in the middle of the day.
Mm-mm.
In between clients, I got
Mhm.
to visit a friend too. Like, we just had to link up and exchange some stuff, but still, it was like I wouldn't have been able to do that. And
Mhm.
like you come in 2 minutes late from lunch, and it's like, where you been?
Yeah.
Put your
Mhm.
time in. So just being free changes you. I mean, there are stressors that do come with it, but
Yes,
you
definitely.
know, um, but again, if I'm with you, God told us to do this. So that journey looks a lot different than if we were trying to do it on our own, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because he's there. He's not gonna let us fail. So he got a plan. It might seem like it ain't gonna work for us, but it's
Mhm.
gonna work. And I'm just so thankful that you my coworker.
Yes,
Like
coworker. Yes.
no, and we joke because we're seeing since we have private practice, we don't have coworkers for real. Like we don't have an office next door where there's somebody to be like, hey girl, hey, I got a
Mhm.
hard case or something. So we call each other. Evelyn is a lot better about it than me. Like she's like, hey, I'm just trying to check in. You good? And I'm like, oh yeah, hey. But I know that's a me thing that I gotta get better with.
Mhm.
But I do so much appreciate you. So can you tell me a little bit about your PhD program? I know you kind of hit on it a little
Mhm.
bit, you mentioned it, but what are you have do you have a focus? I think you're in your dissertation phase now, right?
Yeah, I've pretty much written the dissertation. I've done the data collection. I'm just waiting on my chair to approve my committee rather to approve it so that I can defend it and then I can be called doctor. So I'm just what I'm it's really I'm at the waiting stage right now. I'm just waiting on other people to do stuff. I've done all I can do. Yeah, so
Okay. Dr. Roberts is uploading right now as we
yes,
speak,
yes.
waiting on folks. That is awesome. I
Mm-hmm.
am so proud of you, and just, and doing all this. I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. You ain't say I can't say it, but doing all this as a single parent, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're making all this happen. Like, well, I mean, God's with you, but you're doing this like on your own. You know what I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. Like how you said you bought your first house, you got your two babies who I love and adore. Um, a business, and you still, I ain't putting your age out there, but you're still a baby. You're still not old. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So, and you're successful in all that you're doing. So I just love that.
Yes.
Um,
Well, I can honestly say that like it's a lot of the over the years, the question that I've been asked the most is how do you do it all? And I think why I know that's why that verse is so important to my business and just to my life, that I can do all things through Christ, because like it clearly is not just me that is doing all of this. And when people ask me that, I said
right.
God, because not only has God given me the strength, the knowledge, everything to be able to do all the things that I do, like I said, running around, like I like is it, I can remember in the fall going to a volleyball game on Monday, soccer practice on Tuesday, having a little piece of a Wednesday to be able to not go anywhere, but then soccer practice on Thursday, and sometimes a volleyball game also on Thursday, and then soccer games again on Saturday or whatever, on the top of doing all of the other things that I have to do with writing and preparing for the dissertation
Girl.
stuff, trying to do marketing and seeing, putting in notes, doing billing, all that stuff. And I honestly appreciate, you as a friend and all my other friends and family. On top of this, I'm dating, just being honest, I'm dating too. So thank God for him, and being so understanding and everything, and being
Mhm.
another support in my life for that. So, and like I said, I have my sisters that are supporters to me, just family and friends. Like without family and friends, um,
Yeah.
and my boyfriend, um like that right there is the support that also keeps me going or whatever. I have people that constantly tell me, hey, you're almost there, don't give up. I have people telling me that, hey, God is already giving you this, and do you just gotta keep going or whatever. I have my kids that also support me, like they know when my doors close, don't bother me and
Right.
everything. And then also just telling me how much of a great mom I am too. So all of that is added support too. I honestly do not do it by myself, because I have so much love and support that surrounds me all the time.
Yeah. I know Michelle is one of my, best friends. So she she and I talk about emotional bank accounts quite often. And
Mhm.
that's something that is so important. Like you have these people that's pouring into you. You're not
Mhm.
just, because in therapy we have to do a lot of support with people, right? And even my
Yeah.
daughter just said support is everything. Like you can't do it without that support,
Mhm.
and that's why it's so important to see, you know, who's around you, what's your circle looking like, and I know one of coach, Mr. Brian, he always says I got
Yes.
a dot, but it's still just so important to have whatever, if it's this big or this big, but they need to be supportive. They need to be uplifting. They don't need to be people that's negative energy pulling you
Yeah.
down,
Mhm.
taking away all the time, because you do need something filling up your bank, your emotional bank.
Mhm.
Because we do already have to give out a lot, as
Yeah.
therapists. So, um, I'm just because I'm sitting here like, how you do it for real? Like, I can't, I
The
mean,
grace of God.
right, and I look back too over my life, like how did I do some of that stuff? And you're right, it's the grace. It's that grace because honey, I don't
Mhm.
know how. It's like and you still young, so you got them, you know, them young arms and legs and you
Yeah,
know,
but sometimes these little young arms and legs be creaking too and popping too. And I be like, "Ooh, what's that?" I promise you, this year on my birthday, I woke up and I turned a different way. And it's like my ankle started hurting. I was like, "Where did that come from?" But yes,
right.
I
Yeah.
still tell myself I'm still young though.
So would you actually encourage somebody to start, like, even if it's not a therapy practice, but do their own business?
I think if you have an idea and then you also have the um what's it called? You also have that passion and also the I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. It's not intuition. We're gonna just call it that something. That
The
that can
unction,
just
yeah,
yes,
the zeal,
that
all of
can
that.
help you push through because it's gonna be hard at times. You're
Yeah,
gonna have good days where you have wins, and you're gonna have days that seem like bad days, but are also learning moments and everything. So
mhm,
if you're willing to have have the good and the bad or whatever, start your business if it's for you, and if you whatever support and stuff that you have or whatever, do it.
yeah,
Sometimes your support just gonna be you, so you're gonna have to be prepared for that too, but do it.
yeah. And then, another thing I was thinking about, like, I think you're in that group, aren't you? You're a millennial person, ain't you?
I think I'm in between.
In between.
I think
That's
we're
what my
called
daughter is. She's
millennials or something because some of the stuff I don't be understanding on this end. I was like, I don't know about that or whatever. And then I also like I'm smack dab in the middle. So I remember all of the stuff. Like I remember the rotary phone that went around because my grandma had one. I remember dial up with AOL. I remember all of that. I remember having the flip phone. And
Mhm.
it didn't have any color. It was just that orange, you know. If you drop it too hard, that's it. Like I remember that I had a Nokia phone that lit up on the
Okay.
side. So I mean, I remember all that, but then I also remember all this stuff too.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's what it's like. And the reason I was saying that is like, y'all have a different kind of mindset. Some of us, like as older people, you know, we
We're like
don't
a
know how
Swiss
to use
Army
that.
knife. We're like a Swiss Army knife. We can get through all
Yes.
this stuff. We know how to MacGyver our way through this stuff.
Right. And see, that's why it's good to have you a millennial, y'all. But it's like you guys have a different like, so I'm gonna just I'm not comparing us by any means, y'all, but just for instance, Evelyn was working and she was just like, heard the voice of the Lord said, you know, you can do all things through Christ. Philippians 4:13. That's the name of my business. I'm gonna sketch it out. I'm gonna use Canva. Boom, I got a business. I ain't working here no more. Peace out, y'all. So me on the other hand, I heard the Lord. And I was like, but wait, Lord, wait a minute. I was a little more hesitant about jumping. So I did, but I worked part-time. So I worked part-time doing my business and then part-time still working at the VA. So it was like, well, I did full-time at the VA. But he like, girl, I done told you to go, but it was scary for me. So like y'all take a little more, y'all a little more
Well,
adventurous, I
it
think.
was scary for me too. And to be honest, like this is kind of how it went or whatever. Like, because I want to say, weren't you? No, somebody else told me about BetterHelp, and then you said something about BetterHelp, I think, at one time too,
Mhm.
or whatever. So it went from me working the full-time job and then me deciding like it went from, okay, I think I need to move, I think I need to move, I think I need to move. So it was a process. And then it was like God said, hey, I'm talking to you. I really need you to listen to me. So you need to do it. And I was like, okay. So I woke up, I wrote out my little thing. So I was like, while I'm doing this, I am going to test this out too. So the whole month of October, and my last day was October 31st.
See what I'm talking about? You said a whole month. I
It was
just
all month.
feel like a whole year. I don't know how I did from June of last year to June of this year, and then just saying July 1st was my last. Dang, I just realized that it was actually a whole year that I did that.
But you got to recognize too, like you said, I have a lot of hats.
Yeah,
I'm carting kids everywhere. So
yeah,
I couldn't do that for a whole year and still
yeah.
be sane. I was like, okay, I want to give this my all, and I want to give this my all, and I can't be that double-minded man on the
That's
field,
right. Yeah.
because it would have been unstable. So that's why I was like, okay, this is my plan. Because I actually worked, like when I did do my resignation, I gave them 30 days. I gave,
Hmm.
because I didn't want, I didn't want to just leave people hanging. I was like, let me train somebody.
You're so nice. Like, so nice and sweet, y'all.
But
But
yeah.
but I'll, I usually, well, I want to open up because you do wear a lot of hats and you do have lots of experience. Um, and people look like, oh, you only been licensed for 7 or 8 years or whatever, and it's like, y'all don't understand what we got to go through. Like we for real professionals,
Yes.
because you got to do it in school too. Like you got to do internships. So it's not like, we finish a degree, go start working somewhere.
Mm-mm,
It
mm-mm.
ain't like that. It's
Sometimes you got to work somewhere that ain't got nothing to do with your degree before you can get in the door.
right, right. Or not get paid or not get paid enough. And people, I want y'all to understand like what we do is very akin to like a doctor in residency. Like they're under somebody else and they get watched, all their stuff get, you know, picked
Mm-hmm.
and pulled apart and all of that. And you be pretty confident once you leave,
Yeah.
especially if you have a good supervisor.
Yeah.
But I wanted to open up for people out there. If you have any kind of mental health questions, anything about starting your practice, staying in your practice, listening to the word of the Lord when he tells you to go and you be trying to like, I don't know, whatever it is, if you have any question right now. And while I'm doing that, Evelyn, I do, I always forget this, but I wanted to ask you because I don't want to forget. But what is something that you do intentionally each day? Because that's my whole thing, live intentionally today. So what do you do intentionally each day?
Oh, I thought you had more to it.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So the thing that pops in my head though, or whatever, and I know this may not even seem related to social work or whatever, but intentionally every day, really every night, well, every day and every night, I make sure that I tell my kids that I love them. I make sure that I tell them to have a good day, even if me and my daughter have a little spat and a disagreement before I drop her off, which happens often because she's 12, if y'all know what that means.
Yes.
Uh, and
Whew.
I also make sure that I tell them at night that I love them, and I give them a hug and a kiss every single night. So I make sure that I do that. I also make sure, even if it is me just sitting here before I have to go pick them up, I sit here and I just do nothing. I will tell them, if after I get them sometime, if I haven't had my little time to just sit here and do nothing, I had to run and get them. I'll tell them I'm going to sit in the car for a little bit, guys, so I can just have a little me moment. And they say, okay, mommy, and they go in the house. So I
Yeah.
make sure that I make time just for me to have a moment where I just do nothing.
Hmm. And that is I love that. I love both things really because it's so important for us to tell people that I love them. I know that people are like, well, actions speak louder than words, but sometimes, especially our children, and as we grow up, and as people that you see, you know, their mama never hugged them, never kissed them, their daddy never hugged them, never kissed them,
Mhm.
didn't really say I love you, that kind of
Just
stuff.
show
And
up the stuff.
right. And these people have issues now, as adults. So, y'all, being intentional about letting your kids know that you love them. You can say, I showed up, but tell them sometimes they need to hear that because not everybody's words of affirmation is just,
It's
not
gifts.
everybody's love language
Mm.
is like
Gifts.
gifts or like, what's the other one where you just like do stuff, it's
Oh, you're
um,
talking acts of service.
acts of service. Yeah, everybody's stuff is not that. Some people's are words of affirmation, and so it's
And
so
physical touch. And physical touch
it's
does
just,
not just mean,
let me
that.
hit you upside the head.
Yeah. It doesn't mean love it. Like physical
Yeah,
touch is not just a sexual thing,
right.
It also can mean a hug, holding hands, you
Hmm.
know, rubbing somebody on the head, like,
Yeah.
not smacking
Do
them, like you said.
this, rubbing somebody's back. And
Yeah.
there, if you want to, I just thought about this right now. Like, if you don't know what your love language is, or you do have children, you can go on the website and it's is like you can Google 5 love
5lovelanguage.com,
languages.
and you
Yeah.
can take the test right then, and it'll tell
Yeah.
you, what you rank as. And then also, I think another thing when you just talk about love languages too, is that people think that they only have one,
Right.
and that's not true either.
Right.
Like, and also, people think, like, say, for instance, if I'm trying to show a person their love language or whatever, that means we only have to do that one thing that is their top one. And that's not true because they can be combined as
Hmm.
well. And you have to keep that in mind too. Is that like you have your primary one, but then you have all these other ways that you can be loved too. You may have a one that is least for you, but all of those things work together in
Yeah.
order to let you feel to show love.
Yeah. And it's also like good to let they have it for children too. So you can, if
Yeah.
you have children, so not just for yourself or your partner, but just because they have it, I think you can take it if you're single,
Yeah.
if you're for couples, and also for children. So,
Mhm.
it's good to know because sometimes, I'm speaking English, my husband's speaking Spanish, and we like, what's the problem? Well, we speaking two different languages.
Mhm.
Um, because you need to know those kinds of things. And then the other thing that you said, just doing nothing, girl, that thing's so real because, like, this right here,
Mhm.
when I look, I'm gonna look at my schedule, like my schedule is so blocked. It's like so much stuff on it, right? And
Mhm.
so, like, when you look at it, it's just like all them white dots mean something. That is something.
Mhm.
And then that's not all of it. It's like it can still scroll up. So it's like when you think about that, you do just need a moment to do nothing
Yeah.
sometimes. Like when I'm leaving from my actual office, I just drive in silence. Like
Mhm.
if there's no music playing, I know my husband gets in the car sometimes, like, can you turn the radio on? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
and I don't have that anymore. Like I don't have that commute from
oh,
home
right.
to work or work from home. Like home is my place of work. Today,
Mhm.
I had a meeting at Midtown Coffee. After that meeting was over, and I realized that somebody had canceled, I was like, I'm just gonna stay here at Midtown Coffee and work on some stuff so that because it was a different scenery and it gave me some
Yeah.
time out the house. I think I'm gonna put that in my self-care Fridays to just go to Midtown Coffee and be able to just relax there or just
Mhm.
go to somewhere other than my house to relax and just to have a moment where I don't do anything.
I
Or
feel like that.
Just
I
get out.
feel like that's a whole nother podcast because I've
We
been
gotta come back
talking
to that
to
one.
a couple people about working virtually and how they are not interacting with people. And, God didn't make us to be alone,
Mm,
sitting in the house in a little space with a computer in front of us. He didn't make us
yeah.
for that. He made us that we're supposed to interact with each other. So, this social media and all this stuff, so that'll be a whole nother podcast. We should do it.
I
But
know.
but y'all, I don't want to keep y'all. I know I was waiting to see if anybody had any questions. I want to say hey to Ashley. Hey Ashley. She
Mhm.
goes to my church, so we're well kind of. But and Mr. Cynthia's on. So hey, she go to your church. Like, but
Yes. Hmm.
but yeah, we if y'all don't have any questions about anything, I do want y'all to think about what Evelyn says, what she does intentionally. Tell somebody, if you don't have kids, tell somebody near you that you love them.
Hmm.
Take some time to do nothing. That is some
Yes.
powerful stuff. Like you don't know until you do it how much it really is, how much
Yes.
it means.
I sit in my car, turn on them heated seats because it's getting a little cooler outside, and
Right.
just relax.
And can you tell us before we get off some
Mhm.
ways that we can follow you? And I will put them in the I have the banners up, but I mean I'll put the banners up, but I'm gonna put it in the chat too.
Okay. So you can find me on Facebook at 413 um CS. And then you can also find me on Instagram, same thing at 413 CS. And I am also on YouTube. You can just put 413 Counseling Service and it should come up. Or the link that Juana has provided. I'm trying to get better about putting videos on YouTube, so that just offering tips. My latest video on there is talking about the holiday blues, and also seasonal affective disorder is a real thing, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay in that state. There are things that you can do with the help of a primary care doctor, and also just engaging in different things that promote behavior activation to kind of help get you out of that mood, and everything. And that video kind of explains more tips on how to kind of beat the blues type thing, turn your holiday blues into holiday cheer type situation. Hmm.
Yeah, that's the same one I think you have posted. It was like a little like a week or two ago.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so I think I shared it. If I didn't, I'll reshare it. So yeah, some really good tips on there, y'all. Um but yeah, follow Evelyn on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, because she also puts out some really good information just like I do, and it's just tips, and it's always support. You might, if you don't feel like it's for you, it might be for somebody that
Hmm.
I always believe that God leads us to a place for a reason. So like if I happen to come up upon something, it's because there's a reason for it, that it's not necessarily for me. But I always tell Minister Brian this. On Tuesday mornings he has his which I
Reset.
think you're in there too. So we have the Breakfast Club on at the Reset Academy, and almost every week, like without fail, for the last I don't know how many, like
You
how many
stepping on
years we've been on
toes.
there, like 2 years. Oh yeah, I put that. I put he was stepping on my toes today,
Mhm.
but he always shares something, and it's like it comes right on time for me to share with a client. Like it's a different perspective for them to look at. So just because it's not necessarily for you, it's there for
Mhm.
a reason. So y'all just let's support each other, lift each other up. Um, reach out to Evelyn. I'm gonna put, I think here's your phone number. Yeah. There's a one with
Mhm.
her phone number. I'm gonna put that in the chat as well. But
And
if
then
you
you
feel,
also my website too.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hold on, let me find it. There you go. Website. I'm gonna put them all in the chat, but still, y'all, just she can take you're taking new clients now too, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And if you're a social worker out there needing supervision, guess what? That's your girl right there.
Yep.
Got you.
Hmm.
Well, if you in Georgia anyway, I don't know where.
Yeah, Georgia.
In Georgia.
Look,
Um,
I'm working on crossing the state line or whatever to Alabama. Just give me a minute.
yeah, me too. But y'all have the counseling compact as well, right?
I don't think Georgia has that yet. I don't think they've
Y'all are working on yours. Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's been so good, y'all. So remember these tips, follow, like, share, all of that good stuff. There's my first other coach, Janine. She just had her baby. He is so cute. He is the cutest little, like, he's just like, oh, anyway. But hi, Janine. Thank you all for joining tonight. Remember some of these tips. And what, I know Evelyn shared about her journey in private practice, and we talked a little bit about some mental health stuff, y'all. But, oh, look, supervision. I got
Yeah.
somebody. I'm gonna link y'all up. I'm gonna link y'all up for real, Ash. Um, so but I know we talked a little bit about a lot of stuff, right? But look, I just lost my train of thought because I was getting excited about this connection. But she is taking referrals, you know, just support, you guys, just support, because I really can't remember what I was gonna say. But if I remember, I'll put it out there. But just you know, if you know somebody that needs some assistance with mental health services, um, Evelyn, myself, we're all taking new people. If you're in another state, let us know, because look at there. Like, Janine is not in this state. I know people in so many other states that
Yes.
are
Hmm.
so does Evelyn, so just know that resources are available to you. You can get people that are professional, that look like you. Because we know everybody. If you Hispanic, I know somebody that can hold your whole session in Spanish. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? Like, I just know so many therapists out there. But I remember what I was gonna say. Because Evelyn still does her podcast too. So she has or was I not supposed to talk about it? Like,
Oh,
30-minute moments podcast, which is really good. So y'all just follow, because you never know what tips that you can come across that will be helpful to you or someone else. Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
And so, as always, we're going to wrap up. My thing that I always say is, I am here, it is now, and I am alive. Y'all, we are not having a podcast. We ain't having no tea, because we're going to be sipping some eggnog. Okay. So,
Yes.
next week, no tea. Okay. But we will have one for the week of New Year's. Yeah. What day is that? I don't even know what day it is,
I
but
think New Year's falls on Sunday, just like Christmas falls on
yeah. So the 27th, we will have tea, okay? And it's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna be on there by myself, but it's gonna be a good one, okay? I
Sunday.
want y'all to listen to it, because it's gonna be some good stuff for the new year. But anyway, thank you all for joining, and we will see y'all on the 27th.
Bye.
Don't forget to like, follow, and share.